Good morning, fellow Hoosiers. We are going to start chapter 10. If we look through a timeline of events and we generalize it, we would say the 1920s, people were partying it up, living the good life, enjoying the new culture, the new dances, uh, the new style of dresses. And then we get into the late 1920s, 1929, and we get into the Great Depression, and things drastically change for Hoosiers. Um, but then, of course, we've got Paul V. McNutt, our governor, and FDR creating new deals, making government bigger. And people are starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. But what really takes us out of the Great Depression is World War II, because manufacturing has just boomed at this point. So we're going to pick up in chapter 10, and we're going to enter into the era of the 1940s, late mid 1940s, so after World War II. We're going to go through the 1960s and see the changes that are happening in Indiana. Okay? All right. So, boom. We are going to go to this region. We've seen this map before, and we know that this is called the Calumet region, which is really known for producing what? I hope you're saying steel. Okay, and steel was used to produce cars, and so for the Kokomo region. And so that was a huge economic impact, to have steel for the cars. And that's really Muncie, what made Muncie prosper was the auto industry. So we definitely needed the steel in that Calumet region. Refrigerators are being produced in Evansville, diesel engines in Columbus, heavy duty trucks in Fort Wayne. Um, Another one we're going to get to, which is rather big, is RCA in Bloomington is producing television sets. Whew, mind blowing. Man, things are changing. Our farmers are becoming more productive because they've got new farming equipment. There's new farming techniques and chemicals. So we're going to have a surplus of food. Let's see what else. Washing machines. That's a huge woot woot. Uh, People are being able to own things and improve their material wealth. So they're owning washing machines. They've got 2 car garages. They have cars. So it's kind of like we've gone from this really big high to a really low, and then we're coming up to a really big high again. Okay. Of course, after World War II, you had the baby boom. And the baby boom was from 1946 to 1964, and the soldiers were coming home to their wives. Babies were being born. And within that time period, 76 million babies were born. And so they are known as the baby boomers if you were born between that time period. Things are definitely changing. This is just an image of in Columbus, Indiana, how people would shop at these strip malls and how things were changing because people were driving more cars and taking less public transportation. So you got your good old Kroger over here, and then a camera shop, and then the bakery. Boom, take that all in. And so here's the big thing. The big thing is globalization at this point, because things aren't just produced in Indiana anymore. We are accepting them from other countries. And that's what's throwing Hoosiers off, is that when they go to the stores, they're like, dude, this is made in China. This is made in the Philippines, Bangladesh. Where does it say made in America? And so they're kind of taken aback by that. But that's the whole concept of globalization, on how we're becoming independent with other countries through trade. And our economies are kind of merging and depending on each other. And Hoosiers really aren't used to that. And so you've got this, what is it, 1973 to 1974, you've got an oil embargo, which means that we are not getting oil in. Now, where do we get oil from, or where did we used to get a huge amount of oil from? I hope you're saying like Saudi Arabia, any OPEC member, okay? And OPEC is the petroleum, we'll say club. We are not part of it. Venezuela is a big member. Saudi Arabia, of course, is. Russia is also a big member of OPEC. And that's who we get our oil from. And they're like, dude, you're not getting any more oil in 1973, 1974. Like, why? And they're like, it's because at this point, the Arab world was fighting a war with Israel, and guess who we supported? Yeah, boom, Israel. And so they're like, since you're supporting Israel in this war effort, we're going to put an embargo on you. And this led to a shortage of gasoline. So you can see there, sales are limited, and it created these incredibly long lines um, for people to wait in. And I think this is also the time period that there were certain days that you could fill up your gas tank based on if your license plate ended in an odd number or an even number. So yeah, things were different back in the day. Make sure I got everything there. Yeah, really, ultimately, what it did is Hoosiers are like, seriously, look at how dependent we are on the Arab nation. And they weren't thrilled with that. So now we've got products from other countries sitting on our stores. We're getting gas and oil from Arab nations. Whoa, what happened to our small Hoosier community, right? Okay, so it even gets more different, right? Because now all of a sudden, I like how your book says it, they're like, in the middle of a cornfield appeared a Japanese auto plant. Right? So Subaru, Isuzu, they said just appeared, it seemed like overnight in the middle of a cornfield in Lafayette. And so what that did is it threatened our American automakers, Chevy and Ford, that we might not be number one anymore. So yeah, times they are a changing. Mm-hmm. All right, let's go back to our cars here. And you guys remember that? The United Auto Workers Union and what the unions fight for? They fight for workers to get higher wages, shorter hours, vacation, insurance, right? And that's what they were still doing. And it changed the way Hoosiers were living because at this point, man, if you make more money, you can afford a boat, you can afford college tuition for your kids, you can afford a home with that two-car garage, that washing machine. And so the auto industry really helped Hoosiers prosper. Okay. And then it said our Elkhart, Indiana became the RV capital of the world. So here we are producing RVs. That's pretty neat. We got some big names at the state fairgrounds in 1964. Who are they? Come on. The Beatles were performing, so that was big. Delaware County grew its borders, you can see, from boom to boom. And our population was expanding, and a lot of that was based on people moving out of the city. The highways were being built, and Muncie was on the map, definitely on the map. And a lot of it goes back to that auto industry and what we provided. All right. Another thing that some people remember just from hearing their parents talk about it or grandparents is the TP drive-in in Indianapolis. It's kind of like a Sonic is what it looks like. But look at that. You can sit in your car now, order from your car, and people bring food to you. So yeah, this was a big change. Hey guys, this is a short lesson today. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about RCA and the tale of creative destruction. All right? Holler at me, guys, if you have any questions.